Welcome back to the Northern Nist Podcast. I believe this is episode, 25?
25.
Oh my goodness gracious.
25 actual episodes. And a
so
bonus
we're almost
episode.
at half a year. 52 weeks is a year, so half of 52 is 27? No, 26?
26.
Yeah, so we're almost at half a year.
My goodness.
6 months almost. That blows your mind when you think about it a little bit. Alright.
It really does.
Yes, it does. We are a knitting podcast coming to you from Winnipeg, Manitoba, in the village, because I have made it back to Osborne Village again. Sometimes in the winter, I might not make it to Osborne Village. We'll have to see how that goes.
It's Winnipeg in the winter. Sometimes nobody makes it anywhere.
This is terribly true, yes. So, we are two almost sisters-in-laws? You'd probably just say we're sisters-in-laws. Close enough. We're both seeing brothers.
Yes.
You're marrying one and I'm dating the other. So, close enough.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Sharing our love of the fiber arts and way, way too much other stuff. Because I like to overshare. I'm Jocelyn.
And I'm Diana.
So, let's get started for the week. Diana, my dear, why don't you tell everybody what we're covering?
We are going to cover what's in our cup, cool threads, woolly workings, yarn on the go, fiber flubs, so little time, wool gathering, events, and a review.
Oh my goodness, we got a full bucket this week. Alright, let's start with what's in our cup.
I'm drinking scotch.
See, and I'm the one who babysat two 10-year-olds today, so I'm not sure why I'm not drinking scotch.
I'm not drinking it for the alcohol, I'm drinking it because it feels cold and fall-like, which makes me think of Scotland, which makes me think of scotch, and so I want to drink scotch when it's cool out.
Admittedly, it's 18 degrees, so it's not actually that cool out, but it's no longer 30 degrees.
It's cool in comparison. I'm wearing a sweater today.
That's totally fair. I am drinking a large passion fruit iced tea lemonade with a raspberry pump, because I did have two 10-year-olds on my hands all afternoon this afternoon. I need the sugar.
Don't blame you.
It's that awkward week where elementary school kids go back to school later this week. High school kids went back at the beginning of the week. University students have been in school already. So they stagger when everybody starts to school. So a lot of parents are kind of left in the lurch. And well, physically I'm really only an aunt to two nieces and two nephews? I'm counting Mr. B's nieces and nephews. Because I've been around for most of, at least two of their lives. And then I've known the oldest one for a while. And I've been around for my whole niece's life. So technically I have four that I'm an aunt to.
Alright.
But I have about 12 in the city I'm an auntie to. Now there's a difference. An aunt is by blood or by marriage. I've been with Mr. B long enough that
close enough.
In T's mind and in W's mind, I'm an aunt. I've been around the whole life essentially. Not so much for the oldest nephew, but that's okay. So a lot of parents are doing that last minute. Hey, Jocelyn. Would you mind extra bodies in your space today? I don't have a problem last minute babysitting. I know how hard this week can be for parents between school conferences, getting everybody to school, and if you have more than one child, everybody's staggered differently. So it's really hard. The little ones don't want to go to school when the older ones going just for a conference. Older ones might not be in their activities yet, so it's a lot of juggling. So I had two today. So we went to the library, as I am wont to do. We got ourselves some books. We rode the glass elevator. We had to go get hot chocolates or coffees.
Right.
Yep. And
Very
then we
important.
had to bus to our girlfriend's house because she was with us today. Boy, they might have been 10. But oh my goodness, if they were 6 years older, 7 years older, you would have thought they were city chicks without a single thought. Sitting with their legs crossed on the bus, drinking their hot chocolates, chatting away.
I can just see it too.
Oh my god, I have a photo. I will show you.
Ooh.
It is so cute. I was like, oh yeah, they're definitely city girls to the core. So that was my day today, and that's why I'm having sugar.
I had a perfectly fine day today. The weather dictates scotch.
That's totally fair.
Glenlivet, in case anybody's curious.
Most people, I suspect, aren't curious in the volume of sugar that I have in my cup. It's a lot of sugar. It's very pink. It's very sweet. And soon it'll be too cold for me to want to drink it, so I'm going to enjoy it while it's here. But the pumpkin has returned. I did have a pumpkin spice hot chocolate from Second Cup earlier today. Because remember I said we went for coffees.
I've been
Air
putting,
quotes on the coffee part there.
I've been putting cinnamon and nutmeg in my hot chocolate at work.
Oh, totally. Do it up. So the hot chocolate was freaking delightful. I will be getting that again during pumpkin season. I am not ashamed about my enjoyment of pumpkin season.
I also am unashamed of my love of pumpkin spice.
I'm totally okay with it. I'm fine if other people don't like pumpkin. That's totally fair. I like pumpkin, so I'm going to drink it. In
I
fact,
am a
I'm going
fan
to
of
drink
it
now.
to the point where I, at least once during the winter season, will make my own pumpkin spice syrup.
Oh, can we make me some?
Yes.
Nobody can see my face. My face is pleased. Please, Johnson would like some pumpkin syrup.
Yes, I can make a double batch of pumpkin syrup.
Woohoo! I'm gonna make pumpkin scones here in the next week or so. I'm feeling the pumpkin scone urge.
It's pumpkin season.
It is totally pumpkin season. Oh well, shall we move on? We have a returning segment. We're old enough to have a returning segment. That should blow our minds.
I can't believe that. What do you mean we have a returning segment?
Cool Threads is back.
Yes.
So for everyone who's new, because if you're new, hey, this is how cohesive we are on a normal day. Cool Threads
It'll
is,
get more cohesive as we go along with the scotch.
Sure, that can only help us. Alcohol and sugar, things just go uphill from here for both of us.
It's great. Alcohol and sugar on empty stomachs?
I've eaten.
I have not.
I stress this. Might have been a puffed wheat square, but I did eat. And I am a professional sugar consumer. Feel the need to defend my sugar consumption.
I'm going to be incoherent by the end.
Oh, probably. Either way, Cool Threads for us is our segment where we talk about the things that we have knitted that we are wearing. So obviously it wasn't around for the summer because 30 degrees Celsius is too hot.
Yes.
Too hot.
Far too hot for wool.
But once we've gone back down to 18 degrees Celsius, which is the high during the days now, which is far more manageable for things like shawls.
I think it was 16 at the lake over the weekend.
Yeah, you guys got a little cool out there. We were 17, 18 in the city most of the time during the
It was
weekend.
cool and rainy.
Oh, I had windows open because it was under 20 degrees. Oh, felt so nice not to have the air conditioning on and have fresh air coming in the house. Oh, beautiful.
The mother-in-law to be, I guess.
Yeah, she can just call her your mother-in-law. I mean, you're getting married, so technically mother-in-law to be, but...
She likes things at a balmy 15 degrees Celsius.
Oh my gosh, I forget
So
that.
it was chilly
I wear
at
sweaters
the cottage.
all year long inside Mr. B's house. Mr. B's
Yep.
parents' house, because I find it cold, and I am not a small woman, and I do not find many things in my life cold, but I find it chill. And I mean, I live in a chilly basement, so I'm used to it. But no, I leave a sweater there, so yeah, I could see how it would be sweater season between that and rainy, cool weather. But that's perfect September long weekend weather. That's what it should be.
It was good. I got to wear my rainbow side shawl all weekend.
Sweet. I wore last week because it cooled off a bunch. Tuesday night when we last recorded, I wore my Bendy Arrow shawl.
Ooh.
Because it's not very heavy because it's got the summer silk and then the sock yarn, which is hedgehog fibers. Yeah, hedgehog fibers. So I wore that. So it had its first trip outside of the house after having its ends woven in and blocked and all the 9 yards. And I mean, it went with me to Saskatoon just in case it cooled off in Saskatoon, but it never did. So its first time out was last Tuesday, and I've worn it again a couple of times out in the evenings doing stuff where I've been running errands and popping in and out of the house. You know, in my flip-flops and shorts, as you do in Manitoba.
Sounds about right.
Flip-flop shorts and a sweater, because, you know, that's how that works.
Yeah.
But more cool threads will begin to appear as the weather
I have a
gets
second
cooler.
cool thread.
You have a second? I'm done. All I had was that one shawl. I haven't pulled out any of my other ones yet.
It was cool enough this morning that I just needed something to throw on the back of my neck to get to work. So I pulled out my alpaca cowl, which is just a giant brown cowl made out of local alpaca fiber.
Sweet.
That I got at the Manitoba Fiber Festival a couple years ago.
Well, I guess where we're going in like 2 weekends.
Yeah.
Woohoo!
I'm excited.
Alright. Shall we move on to woolly workings?
Yes.
I have all the things because I'm home again and I have access to all my yarn.
I have two and a bit.
I have a finished object.
Oh, let's start with that. Finished object.
I didn't bring it with me today because, again, I was at the library. There's so many books. They're funny, guys. I'm just deadly in a library. I finished my Find Your Fate shawl.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, oh my goodness. I will bring it next Tuesday so Diana can see it all blocked and the artisanal ends and pieces woven in. I did not finish by the deadline. Now, I could have cheated because the grocery girls weren't going to close their thread for their summer, like their Canada make-along till Monday. I did not. Finished it on Sunday, but I was supposed to have it done Wednesday evening. so I could take it, or have it done, Wednesday, so I could take it on Thursday. I did not finish it by the 31st. So I missed the deadline for the Woolsey Wool thing, and I missed the deadline for the Canada Make Along. Nobody's fault but my own. I knew those deadlines were coming, so I'm not giving myself one iota of space for that one. But I did finish the project.
Still doing miles better than me.
I'm happy. I'm excited. I will totally knit it again. I will not knit it again right now, because I'm so over fingering weight shawls, and I've still got 2 more to do. I want worsted hats. I was eyeballing hats for like an hour and a half on Ravelry last night. I want to do bulky hats. I'm in the fall knitting. I don't want to do summer shawls anymore. But I did finish it, so it's good. So once it's blocked, the ends are woven in, I'll bring it next Tuesday. It might be cool enough to wear next Tuesday.
It might be.
And we'll go from there, but that is my finished object.
All right. Well, I could also talk about my Find Your Fade.
Absolutely.
I wound the rest of the yarn for it.
It's true you did.
With your lovely ball winder and Swift.
It got a good workout on Friday.
So the rest of that yarn's all wound, and I'm 1 lace section away from the next color.
Woohoo! Oh, I started to hate that lace section before the next color. Not because the lace section was hard, but because it was preventing me from using the next color.
I'm so excited to start this next color, even though it's so similar to my current color.
You're just like, I'm done with this color. I want a new color.
Yeah.
I'm finished.
Somewhere around 3/4 of the way through that garter stitch section's like,
I'm done.
yeah.
I want a new color.
I'm bored of this. New color.
Pretty much. Oh, goodness. I'm glad you agree with me on this one. I caught up on my 365-day Granny Square project.
Oh, that didn't take 2 weeks at all.
Not even remotely. I was sitting down on Sunday. Didn't have anywhere to go. So I just sort of finished it while I was doing meal prep. Because if we're honest, it takes time to roast potatoes in the oven. So you've got time.
True.
So I did some meal prep, and I worked on my Granny Squares because it's exactly the right amount of time. Because it takes, about an hour and a half to 2 hours to bake potatoes in the oven. And I was baking a tray of potato dust, because I like to cut them and fill some of them and freeze them, and then I have instant, well, for me, my version of instant freezer food, because that's as close as I can get. So I was doing that, making rice and other boring stuff, but it has to be done. And I find I have enough time to do a square while I'm waiting for stuff to finish cooking.
Are you all professional and adult?
Not by choice. I do it, but not by choice. So I got caught up, which was great. Now that I'm caught up, that's a load off my shoulders. So I'm thinking I might add another crochet project I've been eyeballing into the mix. Forget how much I enjoy crochet until I pick up the crochet and remember exactly how much I enjoy crochet.
I've got a blanket that I bought the yarn for, like, back in the spring, and I'm like...
Oh, right, that.
Yeah, so I'm like...
It is the time of year when we can get into blankets.
Feeling the need for a blanket.
Yeah, I can see this.
Some nice TV knitting, once I get the pattern established.
There's a free YouTube pattern description of a feather and fan faded shawl.
Ooh.
In the crochet. So I picked
like
up the yarn for it, and I want to make it longer, because the lady who made it's like... She's in the low 5-footer range, like 5'5", 5'6". I'm 5'10". It is enough of a difference that it won't be a blanket scarf on me. But if I extend it out a little, do some mathing, because mathing.
Ooh, math.
I can make it a blanket scarf. So I'm thinking...
I do love a good blanket scarf.
That needs to happen. Because that's also something I just pick up and I can work on it for a bit, put it down, walk away, and it's fine. Once I've got it established, so...
Yep.
That's not what I'm working on, though. I'm working on my Zadie sweater, finally. Continuing with this, my theory on knit-alongs is if I participate, great. If I make it at the end date, wonderful. But if I'm having fun while I'm doing it, I don't care when I get it done.
Well, that's really the entire point of it, is the fun in the community.
That's what I think. And I enjoyed everybody's photos. I loved talking to everybody, but I couldn't pick up the needles to do a sweater in the summer. I couldn't do it. It felt so wrong. So wrong. But I'm really, last couple of days, since the temperatures really dropped, my brain's been like, oh, sweaters and cardigans and scarves and all that wintry and hats and mittens, so...
My brain's been all about the fingerless gloves, like why haven't I knit a pair of these yet?
Yeah, so I get it, but so here we are. I'm working on it right now, actually, as we're podcasting, because I'm in the miles of knitting section. Gotta love the miles of knitting section. I measured it at Knit Club for fun. I was at 2 inches.
to a good start.
We got a ways to go before. Well, the pattern calls for 15, and then you do your increases and get ready to split for your shoulders. I am longer on the torso than 15 inches, so 15 inches will hit my. Technically, it does hit my natural waist from where they want it to describe in the pattern, but I wear clothes a little bit longer because I like to compensate for the length of my legs, which I find a bit too long, so I have a tendency to make my torso look longer than it actually is to help make my legs look shorter. So I don't have a progress keeper on this, but it is starting to look like something. A very large headband right now.
A belt, maybe?
Oh yeah, it could be a belt I'm doing in the round, so I steek the belt. I don't know.
Yep.
But I need to definitely add a couple extra inches to the bottom, so I won't be splitting till I'm about 18 inches. So I've got 16 inches or so to go.
That's looking good so far.
So, we'll be knitting in the round for a while, which is perfect. Red saw the pattern on Club on Friday and loved it because she's officially doing her nursing schooling now. So she likes to knit and read at the same time, which I like to do. I completely get it, but you need something that you can absolutely not pay attention to when you're doing that.
Oh, yes.
And doing knit in the round for hours is exactly what she needs. So she's getting the pattern, so I'm feeling the crunch to get mine done before hers. 'Cause I feel like it's a point of pride if she can go to nursing school and finish a sweater first. Oh, I'm slow.
On the other hand, students have that whole, crazy stress level and mountains of reading to do.
I can't blame her for knitting as fast as she does because holy Hannah, being a student. I remember being a student. It wasn't that long ago for me. And I might be doing it again shortly. So I'm like, nope, completely understand.
I got a lot of knitting done in lectures.
Yep, because you need something.
Mm-hmm. Otherwise, I'd be on my computer just, playing and not paying attention.
Yeah. No, it makes complete sense to me. I have been working on two other things. I wrote show notes for a reason.
One other thing.
Well, why don't you talk about what you're working on? Because I've been talking a lot.
I've been continuing work on the wedding shawl, which is the Even Star shawl by Susan Pandorf. Out of lace weight undyed lamb's wool.
Yes.
That's coming along. I think I have 9 or 10 rows left in chart 1.
Nice.
So it's really looking like something, and I'm really excited.
So now's not the time to point out that Laura Orlala from the Knit Girls has started hers as one of her owl projects.
You mentioned.
Yep.
Is this a race now?
She's going to do 960 stitches a day, theoretically.
I'm not.
No, I don't know. We'll see how well that works out for her. I haven't looked at the house cup stuff, so I don't know what's all entailed in that competition, but it is vaguely tempting because I do knit enough that I might be able to get some class work and stuff in. I don't think I can do an owl. No, I'm nowhere near an owl. But
I need to read more about these because I hear people doing them and I don't really know what it is. I just know it involves a lot of knitting and skill stretching.
Yeah, and that's totally fine because I like to stretch my skills, so I'm game for that part. I'm just not entirely sure what all of it entails, so I'll find out for us.
Okay.
And then I'll post about it because that's what I do. The only other thing I've actually been working on is I've reached the hem and the turn for the mammoth shawl.
Ooh.
So I should theoretically have that done in another week or so. It is an intense cable edging, so I do need to pay attention for that part. So I can't do that and babysit at the same time, or do that, and I can do that and be on hold on the phone, which happens to me a fair bit, or if I'm waiting in doctor's offices. But we're not really we're not a travel size anymore. It's quite big. It's in that large range of shawl that I like. So we're pretty much a home knit now.
I'm really excited to see that one.
Oh, I will definitely bring it. It is beautiful. It's so pretty. I'm so happy I did it in that oatmeal tweed. That was such the right call.
I'm so excited.
I'm doing it out of the Bernay premium yarns because there's no way my mother doesn't try to steal it from me. I might wear it to my sister's wedding because if it's cold, that'll help a lot.
Yeah. That's in, October?
It's the 13th of October, yeah. She's getting married on Friday the 13th, which is hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
She paints. So she's painting little pictures for the tables, for all the wedding tables. So everybody will have 2 pictures and a decorated wine bottle with some fake flowers in it.
Oh, cute.
Yeah, so this looks really pretty as a table decoration, so I'm super excited about that. Also because then I don't have to help put anything together, so bonus! I'm out of time. But yeah, no, that's it for my workings. I have theoretical things. That's not a shock.
I said I had 2 and a bit.
Yeah.
My and a bit is winding all the yarn for the Find Your Fade and the gold yarn for the Wonder Woman shawl.
Because Wonder Woman shawls.
So if I have the needles free for it, I'm probably going to start the Wonder Woman shawl this week.
I said I couldn't until I got my Find Your Fade finished, and I have the Find My Fade finished.
I feel like not finishing that anytime soon.
I really feel like I should finish the Mammoth shawl, like get the cabling done on that, which really should only take me about a week or so, which puts me, second week of September? That's not too bad. Then I can start the Wonder Woman, and it gives me 6 weeks to get it done before we go to C4. That's manageable.
Oh, yeah.
I can do that and other things, that's super important.
I figure I have, by the time this goes out, just over a month and a half before C4. And it's not a massive shawl, so I think if I start it this week, I should be okay.
Yeah.
I also want to start doing socks for people for Christmas presents.
That seems wise. I got hats on the go. I didn't work on any of them, though, so that's fine. I've only got a hat and a half left and a shawl left, for sure, for Christmas presents.
Nice.
So I'm making good progress, so I'm not worried about that. But that's it for Woolly Workings. Whew. All right, so what are we doing now?
We're at Yarn on the Go.
Well, you went somewhere this weekend.
I went to the lake this weekend.
Because it was a long weekend.
It was. And it was cold and rainy, and I took 0 pictures of my knitting because the lighting was terrible.
Oh, jeez.
Well, it was too wet to go outside where the lighting was decent.
Mm.
And inside it was just too dark, so
Okay.
no pictures of knitting happened. But knitting occurred.
It's okay, I took enough pictures for both of us. Instagram tells that story.
Yeah.
That's the thing. That's okay, the only thing my yarn has done since last week is gone to the library.
That's
Makes
an
it sound
exciting
hip.
trip.
Mostly because I needed new books, because I returned my old books, which means I took out new books. Now, I took back 25 books, and I only took out 4 books. So that's a vast shrinkage ratio.
25?
Yes.
I don't think I've ever taken that many books out at once in my life.
I've been maxed out at both the public library and school library during some semesters when I did university. But I'm usually sitting anywhere about that 10 to 20 marker.
I can't fathom having that many extra books around.
Well, I read, 2 or 3 books a week?
I guess.
So it kind of adds up, because I'm not buying 2 or 3 books a week. That's a lot of books. And
That's true.
You've seen me buy books.
I guess I lived
no
pretty
fear in
close
this.
to the library when I was growing up, so when I finished a book, I could just go get another book.
The libraries that are closest to me are both closed for renovations right now, so...
That's unfortunate.
I have a long bus ride, so I make it count. Don't get me wrong, it means I get to go to the Millennium Library, which is the big, fancy library downtown. So I'm super okay with that, because then it accidentally means that I have to stop for coffees, or visit with my girlfriends.
Yes, have to.
Have to maybe accidentally go to Buys and Books, eat too much food and have a food baby.
Yeah.
The important things.
Yeah.
So that's fine. But I did that. I picked up some new knitting books because the girls wanted to ride the glass elevator. And I said we weren't just going to ride the glass elevator for fun. We had to have a reason. Me and my logic, right? So they were like, well, you need knitting books. I'm like, I need knitting books, do I? So yeah, I needed new knitting books to read. So we went up in the elevator and we got some new knitting books, and then we came down in the elevator. They were I don't know what it is about glass wall elevators and kids, but they like it.
I mean, it's still pretty cool even as an adult.
It is. I like watching it, and I don't really have any depth perception anymore, so just imagine that, but kind of flat. This is a fascinating experience. And everything after about 5 feet is blurry as all get out.
So it's an abstract wall display?
It's an abstract painting that I travel up and down in those elevators, but that has a wonderful voice that is very clear and very definitively tells me what floor the elevator has stopped at, which I super appreciate. And the buttons are big enough and clear enough I can read them. So it is the well-lit, easily accessible, friendly to people elevator, which I can super appreciate, especially in a public building.
Mm-hmm.
Especially in a public building. But yeah, that was my yarn on the go. I picked up some more library books, some more knitting books, because we review things. And my knitting was in my bag for later today, so that's the thing. If you hear munching, it's because I'm still eating carrot cake. Oh, we're done yarn on the go, so what are we going to do next?
We are on to fibre flubs.
That is all you, ma'am. I'm going to sit here quietly in the corner and eat my cream cheese cake.
You do that.
Mm-hmm.
So, my Find Your Fade shawl continues to be, somehow, just a few stitches off. I was so certain at the end of the last lace section that I had fixed it and I had the right number of stitches. And I'm so certain that I've done the right number of rows in the garter stitch section, and somehow I have 4 stitches too few going into the next lace section.
You are just gifted, aren't you?
I don't know. What's the really irritating thing is I'm pretty sure I was 4 stitches too many before and stuck in the decreases. So I don't know. So I'm just gonna go with it because I understand how the lace works. So I'm just gonna go with it and just not care about stitch counts anymore.
Well, I mean, I've done some artistic decreasing from time to time with my shawls. So, I mean, it's a thing. It's not something everybody wants to admit, but in the end, it's really not going to make that big of a difference.
No.
It's really not. I mean, I'm going to have some slightly fancy blocking to have everything line up perfectly, but even that's going to be hard, next to nothing at all, work-wise.
I figure so long as the lace lines up properly, nobody's going to care if it started on the right repeat.
Not even remotely.
Yeah.
And if they do, man, they have too much time on their hands.
Yes.
Can I have their life? Because, wow, I could use some extra time.
So that's my flub.
That's a perfectly acceptable flub, I guess.
My flub is I'm ignoring it.
My flub is I'm ignoring it. Okay, that works.
So little time.
So little time.
This is your section.
Is it ever? The fabric has been washed.
Ooh.
We are dried, we are folded. The patterns have been traced out. So up next is the cutting of the fabric, which might be slightly delayed because I've got to do some stuff before that. But we are well on our way. All the instructions have been read through twice because it's always
Very
good
important.
to do that. I do it with my knitting too, and it goes less sideways with my sewing, so I'm not sure what what exactly, but the knitting kind of doesn't convert quite right translation-wise. But sewing-wise, we're looking good. I ordered zippers for my purses, so those will be coming in shortly from zipperstop.com. Thank you to the Knitmore girls for letting me know that website existed, because I didn't know it existed, and I'm quite excited to see what my zippers look like when they arrive.
Maha?
Oh yeah. Zippers are very expensive in Canada. I think
Weird.
I did 20 to 24 inch range. They're anywhere from $5.25 for plastic to $7 for metal.
That seems really weirdly expensive.
That's quite, I don't know why. I mean, you can get them on sale and depending on the brand and stuff, but I want a nice, sturdy, metally zipper. Like,
Yeah.
I want something that's going to have some capacity to hold up. So I ordered them for like $2.80 a zipper American.
That's a large discrepancy.
It is. I mean, I'm cutting out a lot of the middlemen because I'm not buying it from a store, so they're not taking their cut, and they're not taking, getting charged from the guys who are selling it wholesale, who are then, paying for machines or whoever puts them together. I don't know if it's machine or by person. Probably machine?
I'd assume machine.
So, I don't know, but I'm definitely cutting out a middleman, which helps a bunch because I'm buying it essentially at the wholesale price. So that makes sense in my brain. I've worked for small companies before, and I've worked in retail, so I know what markup is, and I understand markup logically. You have to pay for the spacer, and you have to pay for your lighting, you have to pay for your heat, you have to pay for your employees, you have to pay for insurances. Like, there's a lot of stuff to pay for when you run a business. So I'm not against it. I just know for me, if I want to start making the purses and not have the end cost too high, because you see a lot of the artisanal purses, and they look amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like $120 just because of the source material and the time that's put into it.
Yeah.
Mine are already sitting at like $80 once we account paying me, not just the cost of the materials, but the time that I put into it as well. So I really want to keep that price under $100 if I can, logically. So I needed to look at getting them wholesale just to help keep the costs down.
Makes sense.
So that's allowed me to just sort of negate the cost of the zipper and not raise the cost of the purse, which was my goal. Yeah. So those have been done. I still haven't double checked all my tags and stuff, and now I'm paranoid that I don't like some of the photos. So whatever. I didn't put a timeline on it. I know better. The Etsy shop will be live when it's live. Just it's growing at its own speed. There's like nothing I can do about it. I've gone into production for craft tables, so all of my focus has been filling out for craft tables, marking what weekends they're on, seeing whether or not there would be anybody there at the vendors and stuff that I'd have competition with or I wouldn't have. Editing my stuff organized so I've got bins to display my stuff in. I've just dumped into a whole other category of things that's a lot more work than I thought it was going to be, and I thought it was going to be a lot of work. So crazy.
Everything is always twice as much work as you think it's going to be, at least.
And I always think it's not going to be a least amount of work. I always assume there's going to be a lot of work involved. I mean, it probably doesn't help that I'm still creating a craft room. I'm still doing all the schooling stuff to get funding to maybe go back to university. I'm still doing bi-monthly. I have doctor's appointments for my vision loss and to check and update on my health. So like I don't have time for a real person 9-to-5 job. I don't. Between that and 3 blogs and doing this and the other stuff that I do, I don't have time. I'm full up on stuff. I have 50-hour work weeks. How did I even get here again? It's like working 2 jobs again, which I did for years. I thought I was done with that. Apparently not.
No, you just get to work a million small ones.
A million small ones, which is fine. I'm excited that the material, fabric was washed, everything came out perfect. We're sitting pretty. Our lining is washed and prepped and ready to go, so I'm going to start by making the dresses in the lining first. Because if something goes wrong, the lining is a lot cheaper to replace, to do over again.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So I'm going to do that, and then if it turns out well, hey look, the lining for the dress is done. Oh no, that's a tragedy.
Such tragedy.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But that's our so little time.
Shall we move on to wool gathering?
Absolutely.
I think this is largely you, unless something leaps to my mind.
You finally did watch WTF Knitting.
I did finally watch WTF Knitting.
And you agree with me?
Yes.
Yes?
Very entertaining.
Freaking delightful. Love it. I would
love to have coffee with him.
Not coffee. I'd love to go yarn shopping.
Oh my goodness.
With Levi. Can we go yarn shopping with Levi? Can this be a road trip?
Oh my
I will
goodness.
Find a way to fund it so the 3 of us can go road tripping. We'll go down and we'll do something yarn related. That it has to happen. You've seen his puppy? Oh my god, it's so cute. I still don't want to own a puppy, but I can like them. So I'm just like, oh man. It's on my life goals. Same with things like, have coffee with Knitmore Girls after Stitches West. These are things I dream of doing one day. Life goals. Hey, we're going to go to Edmonton. Let's hang out with the Grocery Girls. Hang out with Jody and Tracy. How fun would they be?
Yeah.
Oh my god, it'd be so much fun.
Oh, all these people would be so fun to meet.
We need to start going to things that they go to.
We need to start living in places that are not a million miles from anywhere.
I like the city I'm in. I could move again, but I like Winnipeg.
It's growing on me.
Well,
growing on me like mold.
That's attractive thought.
That's kind of how I feel about it.
I've lived in smaller cities. I've visited bigger cities. This seems to be about the right size. I probably could do bigger. It would take a lot more work now with the vision loss, but I couldn't do smaller.
I feel like the resources might be better in a bigger city.
Yeah, a lot of it comes down to resources for me. So, but we've completely strayed off our topic.
Yeah, we have. What were we talking about? We were wool gathering.
We were wool gathering, which is exactly what we were doing.
Perfect. We were so on topic.
That was super apt. In our my never-ending search for new content, because I do not social media nearly enough in my mind.
Clearly not. But
YouTube shows keep me company when I'm knitting, podcasts keep me company when I'm walking, everything keeps me company while I'm sewing. I'm used to audio sounds, but again, I have to stress, I don't watch TV. How many conversations do I get lost in? I have no idea what's going on the boob tube, as you will. I have a hot clue. I don't have cable. I occasionally turn my Netflix on. I do Netflix stuff, so that's always fun. But That's it. I'm not. I absorb media in other formats, so I'm not
Same with
always
me.
up to date on some things.
I remember the last time I turned on a TV to watch a TV.
Like high school, for me.
The U.S. election.
Nope. Unless I happened to be in a house where it was on the TV, the last time I actively turned on a television was before I graduated high school. So we're talking like Babylon 5 on syndicated reruns, because I graduated high school in, that many years ago.
Presumably 8 years before I did.
I will have my 20th high school reunion shortly. It's not that many years away from me.
My 10th is in a couple of years.
Yeah, my 10th has come and gone. No, I graduated in 2001. So yeah, in 2021 will be my 20th high school year reunion. So it's not that far away. It's gonna be here before I know it. But that's about the last time I watched TV, really. So there you go, there's that. I've had TV on, I've seen other shows, but I haven't really turned on a TV in years. So that's fine. In addition to the YouTubeage, because I'm always looking for knitting podcasts, to go with my food podcasting. Food podcasting, book podcasting, and knitting podcasting. My YouTube feed is nothing but books, food, and knitting.
Sounds delightful.
I think it's the perfect, and all sorts of food, all sorts of books, and all sorts of knitters, because I like listening and watching them all. I found a new one called Raspberry Knits Podcast.
That sounds delicious.
Are you ready for this? Just started YouTubing. Amazing, watching her grow and learn, because it's a learning process. Everything's a learning process. Just started an Etsy shop, dyeing her own yarn, knitting, great, right up your alley. Yeah, 14.
Oh my goodness.
14, you guys. I am in such awe at her just drive and passion for this. It is so wonderful. So I, of course, immediately had to look at buying a skein, because...
Well, yes, obviously. Support this.
Absolutely. She needs all the encouragement, and just watching her podcast, about a half hour in length, a little over a half hour, so funny. It's like listening to my niece talk about knitting. It's great. I know all the words because there's a young kid in my house, but there's such enthusiasm there for it that it doesn't always come across in some of us older people. We've sort of learned to tone it down a little. Just not really a thing you do when you're younger.
True.
Yeah, not everybody does, but I know I sound fairly, like I can be excited about something, and I still sound pretty me. I don't get quite so super excited.
It's not the 14-year-old level of excited.
No.
Or it's the best thing in the world.
Yeah, I've passed that stage in my life. So
sadly, yes.
It's a thing and whatever.
Remember that when everything was the best thing ever?
Yes. Hello, scrunchies.
Pirates of the Caribbean.
When I was 14, it was the little mini clips that you twist your hair up in these little braids, rather than the headbands.
Yeah, I remember those.
Yep. Just, oh man, 90s chokers and collars.
Yes.
Yep, I did the first round of crop tops and high-waisted jeans in the early 90s. Don't need to do it again. I'm good, thanks. Didn't look good on me then either.
It looks good on very few people.
Yeah, but no, absolutely. I think you guys should check her out. She's and it's so fun, and it's just enjoyable. I'm like, a half hour's gone by? Oh, okay. I will watch another episode as soon as it comes out. Because it's just really cool to see someone that passionate about something.
I might have to give that a try.
Oh,
especially if they're short.
Yes,
I don't have a lot of time to absorb nearly all the content I would like to.
I never, ever, ever want any of the podcasters, ever, audio or otherwise, to feel like they need to have a short podcast. No.
Goodness knows we don't.
No, we don't. And I don't really keep track of it. You know what? Take as long as you need. I want to feel like I'm a part of that conversation, and I feel like I've joined her world for a half hour, and I get to experience the things that she's doing and see the projects she's working on, the yarn and the stuff, and it's just, not to mention the colors on those yarns. Oh, they're so Jocelyn colors. They're bright and they're cheerful and they're perfect.
Sounds very Jocelyn.
Oh, so me. But that's our wool gathering.
All right. We are on to events.
Woohoo!
You are doing a knit-along of some sort.
I am doing a knit-along of some sort. It's because we got an extension. The Cozy Up with the Stitching Sisters, which is a YouTube podcast I follow, I was doing a summer shawl along, and rather than having an end date for the first of this month, which had been the initial plan, they've extended it out to the end of this month. So I've got a few more entries that it can go in for that, so I want to post and do that. And it's a pretty chillaxed one. I have definitely been scouring the thread for ideas, because people are knitting the most amazing shawls. They look great, super enably. I need to buy all the yarn. And did I not, in this podcast, stress how I did not want to do any more fingering weight shawls?
Except that you want to do like 10 more?
Yes.
Okay.
That's exactly how that works.
Yeah. That's absolutely how that works.
But there it is. But yeah, I'm working on that one. It's the only one left right now, because I'm not doing any of the mystery knit-alongs, because I really need to get the Christmas knitting done. So once that's done, I will take a look at knit-alongs that might happen over the winter time and into the spring for 2018, and see if there's any of those that sort of catch my eye. I mean, don't get me wrong, I really thought about doing that What the Fade mystery knit-along, but just couldn't quite.
Too much else going on.
Too much else going on. I've got a lot on my plate right now, so I had to let it go.
Let it go.
I don't start singing the song. All the parents who've had to watch millions of Frozen may not appreciate you.
I'm sorry.
I mean, I'll appreciate you because I think the song's fine, but
I'll just be over here in my corner
I'm a
not
horse
singing
of
the
a
song.
different color.
Next events. All the other knit-alongs are done, so we're on to the Manitoba Fibre Festival, which is only a couple of weekends away.
Not this coming weekend, but the weekend after.
My goodness, that got close.
Yes, we have one more podcast week to talk about it before it's there, and then we're there.
My goodness.
One or two, yeah, because this weekend will be the weekend of the 9th and 10th, so it's next weekend. So yeah, we have one more podcast recording next Tuesday. And
My goodness.
It's like if you can see her
When did that
eyebrows.
sneak up?
The eyebrows keep climbing up the forehead.
When on earth did that sneak up? That's close.
So we have to finalize plans for that.
Yep.
Yep.
Get all the people with cars that like us to take us to the Fibre Festival so we can fill their cars with fibre.
Hey, Red, I know you listen to the podcast. Want to drive me to... No. No, I believe Mr. Red is coming.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah, so I am super excited because that is going to be so much fun. Oh, I'm so stoked.
I want to pet all of the fibre.
Yes, you do. I want to buy all of the yarn, so we're in a good boat for where we're going. I think this is very wise on our part. And then, yeah, we have to talk to Miss D and see if she's free to join us from work. And then your mom said she wanted to come too, so we should be a good, healthy group.
Yeah.
Super exciting.
I'm super excited.
Oh, it's going to be so much fun.
Can get some more shawl pins, spinning fibre.
All the stuff.
All the things.
All the things.
Okay. And then we are on to C4, Central Canada Comic Con.
We both have projects we need to finish to wear to C4.
Yes, in the form of the Wonder Woman wrap.
Anybody taking bets? Anybody? Anybody?
No, I will have that done.
Okay.
I will.
I will.
Pout.
Oh, arm pout. Arm folded and pout.
I would stamp my foot too, but I'm sitting cross-legged in this chair.
All right. I'll be casting on the Wonder Woman this week for that. So
Yeah, me
that I've
too.
given myself a good 6 weeks instead of 4. It's a little less stressful when I give myself that extra 2-week buffer.
I
And
imagine.
it's not a big shawl at all. And almost all the shaping is short rows.
Yep.
Yeah, so it's like, really? This is going to be nothing. This is going to be so easy to knit. So I'm
so excited.
Excited.
Just watching Red knitting hers, and she's doing all this.
Yeah.
All this weird shape is coming off the needles. Like, yes, I want to do this.
Yes. Oh, I'm so excited. I can't wait. I've got the patterns printed, the yarn sitting, the needles are sitting, and they were there teasing me, but I knew I had to get the find your fate done first. Which is totally fair. I set out that's what I was going to do, and I did it. So, now we're on. I even took the Wonder Woman to Saskatchewan. Just on some sort of offshoot in magical land where I don't take this long to knit a fingering weight shawl. I got it done, and I could start my Wonder Woman shawl while I was on vacation. There was no hope of that happening, guys.
Yeah, no.
None at all, but I took it anyway.
Other things occurring at the same time, the Saturday of C4, unrelated to C4, is the Pride and Prejudice Ball.
Which I'm making dresses for.
Which we are still on the wait list for tickets for, but
That's okay.
I assume we're going to go.
Oh yeah, like if we're able to get off the wait list, we're going.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And that's just, it comes down to things happen in people's lives. We could get lucky. They could expand the space out.
Yeah?
Yeah, like we don't know what they're going to do, so I'm glad we're on the wait list. That is good. I think either way, the dance lessons will be fun.
Yes. I'm super excited.
Whether we make it or not, the dance lessons into themselves are quite an event, which is super exciting. So I'm pumped. I'm looking forward to it.
And then we're on to the Grinch Along for the month of December, wherein you knit no Christmas presents for this year, starting December 1st.
You betcha. It's hosted by the Knitmore Girls. Can you tell we love them?
No fangirling.
What?
None whatsoever.
Massive amounts of fangirling on over here. Knitmore Girls, the Knit Girls, more lists here. I have so many people that I would be afraid that I would make a fool, like absolute fool of myself if I was ever to actually meet them. Or they were to talk to me, I would have a moment of panic and do not open your mouth and say something offensive, Jocelyn. Like, just, whatever you do, filter your words. Will be running around in my head, but it's just right out there, things I'd love to be able to do, and meeting the Knitmore Girls is so one of those things.
I learned relatively recently that when I'm trying really, really hard not to hardcore fangirl at somebody, I just get very, very quiet.
Well,
just, like, painfully silent.
That's awkward.
Fortunately, it was in a group setting, so it was okay.
No, my goodness. That's one way to do it.
Why, you can't say anything offensive or stupid if you don't say anything at all.
This is terribly true. I'm known as a talker, so that could prove problematic for me. I think it's because I say things, and I just sort of, if it pops, well, you've known me long enough. If it floats through my head, I may or may not verbalize it. And there's no guarantee that it will make sense. It'll be in English, or...
Probably. Some form of English?
Some form of English. Or that I'll have even used remotely the correct grammar, or be aware of where I am. So sometimes I'll ask questions that really don't fit the context of the location I'm currently in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just random things that float through my head. Yeah. Those all the time to me. And I don't think it's strange. Sometimes I forget when people first meet me that it is odd, and people have to get used to me first before I start throwing quite that much weirdness at them. It's a thing. But it's fine. But yeah, that's really all we've got left planned for this year. We haven't really done a lot of planning for 2018 yet. We have to work around, you have an upcoming surgery in December.
I do.
So that's going to throw some things out of whack for us. So it's a good thing we're resting that month.
Mm-hmm.
And you have a wedding next year.
Yep.
And we gotta make sure we plan around that. So make some plans, figure out what we can and can't do next year, considering time restraints, and go from there.
Yeah.
Plus whatever random knit-alongs I run across when I have time again and feel like I can do all the things.
Yeah, knit-alongs. I'm so good at those.
You know, they're not for everybody. They're really not. Not everybody enjoys them. Not everybody likes that timed knitting. I love that timed knitting. It gives me such a goal.
Thing.
Oh.
So not my thing.
It gives me such a goal. But it's not for everybody.
Alright, I think that wraps up events.
It does.
We're on to the review.
We are on to the most amusing of amusing reviews we have ever done.
Yes.
Normally, we try to review things that you can get.
This is not a thing that you can get.
No.
But you can find lots of pictures of it on the internet.
Yes, you can.
Good luck finding the patterns, but you can at least see pictures.
Oh, so you can at least see what it is that we're talking about. Which is fine. What are we reviewing this week?
This week, we are reviewing Beehive Hand Knits for Men with Special Gift Supplement, which is a Patons and Baldwin's Limited publication from somewhere in the 1940s. It was sold for 35 cents. Yeah, so...
Oh my gosh!
So this is a yard sale treasure that I found at some point, and it's been patiently waiting in a drawer for somebody to pay attention to it.
Oh, we did.
We have paid it a great deal of attention.
It has been a great deal of fun.
So much fun. This is kind of split half and half between that is the ugliest sweater I've ever seen in my life, whoever thought that was a good idea, and you know what, that's actually a really good looking sweater.
I was looking at a couple of those going, oh, my grandpa's in his 70s. Late 70s. He would wear this.
They're like the perfect old man sweaters because they're literally the original
old man
they are the original old OG sweaters. OG old man sweaters.
They totally are. I mean, some of them I looked and I went, oh, I'd wear that now. I'm not sure that says good things about me.
It was mostly the cropped length of some of the sweaters was like,
yes, yeah.
That was a thing? Why is that a thing? That should not have been a thing.
I don't know. My particular favorite was the poses.
Oh, yes.
Yep.
Like on the cover here with the cigarette.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cigarette notwithstanding, it is a, wow. It's posed. There's just no other words for it.
Oh, yes.
The font's nice. Which seems weird to say.
It's, I imagine, Standard Times New Roman font.
Yep, and it's nice and legible. I can appreciate a nice legible font. No matter what time frame it's printed in.
So, shall we highlight some of the more entertaining patterns?
Oh my god, absolutely.
Okay, so, there's this nice gift supplement in the middle here that I think most of you...
In color!
In color, where is that page? I think I'd be able to find that page a little bit easier.
The rest of the magazine's black and white, but the supplemental is done in color.
I think that'd be easier to find.
And I mean, admittedly, there was actually a couple
here we
sweaters that I wrote down where I would actually knit them and just add a bit of length to be the length I'd want them to be at. And wear them as is.
Yeah. So, I think we need to start with the bear sweater.
Is there anywhere else to start but the bear sweater?
The actual pattern name is Halliburton, but it's a sweater with it's Fair Isle, Intarsia. I don't know. It has bears and trees, and I just don't know what to say about it.
Oh, bears.
Bears.
Bears? Okay, now admittedly, I like the pattern. Not on a sweater. Dear heavens, no. I'm not that kind of a person.
Looks like it belongs on a cheesy mug, not a whole sweater.
What I was thinking was one of those themed blanket throws for couches. Where it's not the whole thing, but you take the charted pattern and you make it the edging.
That would be less horrifically cheesy.
It would be less horrifically cheesy.
It's still kind of cheesy.
In the sweater format, my brain just goes, no. Too much bear. It's really overpowered. Now, it is the classic 1920s, 1940s knit sweater that you're thinking of in your brain. Or you're like, oh, that's a hand knit sweater.
It is an ugly hand knit sweater that requires a great deal of skill.
It does. And it doesn't have enough of a Christmas theme to be in right now. So there's that. No, I mean, admittedly, there were some really good patterns. There were some pullover cabled
there were many actually good patterns in here.
So yeah, like, it's still...
Just had to highlight the bears.
Well, yeah. Did you see the reindeer?
Oh, yes.
Reindeer one? Where it's just, color work just on the chest front.
Yeah.
Where it's two standing stags on either side of the centerpiece. I don't even know after that how to describe why that image is so very wrong to me. You wouldn't think it was black and white, so it's black yarn and the stag show up as white. And it doesn't sound wrong, but it's just...
I'm trying to find it. There it is.
Just wrong somehow.
His name is Sven.
Oh, that's nice.
He works in the ski lodge.
That is exactly what that image depicts in my brain.
I think he's even holding ski poles.
Jeez. All of the bad politically incorrect jokes here, guys.
I apologize
so
to
much
anyone of Scandinavian or Nordic ancestry that I've just made fun of.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
There's something about these old magazines and old books that it just bring me such joy. And I think it's those patterns where your brain's just like, but you know somebody's grandmother knit them that.
Mm-hmm.
You just know it happened. And your brain just can't conceive of a fate like that. When you very well know, once you've reached any age that's over 23, you look back at what you wore in high school, at what you wore in elementary school, and you're embarrassed by what you chose to wear, because at that point,
Oh, yeah.
your parents aren't dressing you anymore. There was an unfortunate phase with Tweety Birds on tie-dyed t-shirts I did in the super early 90s.
I can think of a couple of shirts. I had a thing about tucking in my shirts when I was about 10 years old.
Yeah? It had to be tucked in?
Had to be tucked in
Okay.
in my high-waisted windbreakers.
Oh my goodness. So
Yeah.
we've all had those moments, but it's just, part of me is so morbidly curious. Like, if I knit that, would Mr. B wear it? Not curious enough to knit it, mind you, but morbidly curious.
Shall we highlight some of the things that are actually good?
Oh my god, yes. Before people think this is just a magazine of crazy.
Like the cover sweater. It's actually a really nice, classic-looking sweater.
It is a classic men's sweater. It's exactly what it's supposed to be.
It is, in fact, the OG classic sweater.
And it's perfect, because it's just really well put together. I really enjoy it. So I'm really happy with that one. The first one that I was just like, you know what, I might actually even potentially knit that, is the Fairway cabled cardigan. It's pretty early on.
Illustrated on page 5. They don't have conveniently placed pictures.
No.
So this is difficult.
It does make it a little more interesting.
Oh, that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. That's one of the slightly cropped ones, but it would be easier to just make it longer.
My brain was just like, just make it longer. That's all it needs to have done. And I can certainly add extra rows and some shaping for hips.
Yeah.
And make it longer in a cable pattern.
I enjoyed, a couple pages later, the Telemark cardigan.
Ooh, I like that one.
Zipper cardigan with all sorts of interesting texture on it.
It looked, the picture perhaps not the best for it.
Yeah, no, I don't really agree with the styling.
But
with the ascot-styled Fair Isle scarf.
Yeah, that.
But the sweater itself looks quite nice.
The sweater looks nice. The picture for the sweater just made me giggle.
Oh, right, and there's somebody's, like,
handwritten
sewing... There's a handwritten knitting pattern in here that involves stripes, but I have no idea what it actually makes.
Guys, yard sales.
Yard sales. Somebody's handwritten knitting pattern is in here.
The most amazing things there sometimes. Same with, like, book drives and stuff to raise and support. Like, my big ones are the children's hospital book fairs. I just find the best stuff. I apologize. I apparently ate too much burger for La Burger Week. It was 2 patties on that burger.
Worth it.
Totally worth it. I'm just paying for it with food coma now.
Yeah. Should wrap up quickly because I'm fading fast.
The chamomile tea is probably not helping.
True.
Probably could have picked a better tea.
This sweater. This is the old man sweater.
Mm-hmm.
It's the Murray Bay cardigan.
Yes. I
it's
need
even
that sweater.
On an old man.
I need that sweater in my life.
It is the old man sweater. Just simple, ribbed, with the medium-sized buttons and pockets. And
It's that sweater that you see them make all the time for little kids for it to be cute. And you just think, where is it in my size?
There it is.
Not with the extra detailings for girl sweaters. Not to bring it up to a modern sort of hip. No, I want the very clearly took it out of my 78-year-old grandfather's closet old man cardigan. That's what I want.
That is what you will get out of this
I
book.
know. It's amazing. I'm so excited by it. The only other one was the Balmoral.
Balmoral.
I didn't write down what page it is, so I apologize for that one. And the Cape Breton Bush Coat.
Oh, I also wrote down that one, yes.
The Balmoral I wrote down because I actually wore a sweater like that in high school. True
Got
story.
the Cape Breton here. Yes, that is solid. Okay.
Yeah,
Wait,
it's before the Cape Breton.
The Balmoral, diamond-clad cardigan, illustrated on page 26.
Yeah. I wore.
That is the which one? Diamond-clad cardigan. Oh, that one.
Mm-hmm.
That is a statement of a cardigan.
I wore that statement of a cardigan in high school. I mean, different colors.
It has matching socks too.
I never owned the matching socks.
I would totally wear the socks.
I would definitely wear the socks.
I'm not sure I'd wear that sweater.
I totally wore that sweater in high school. I was in different colors, but I totally wore that sweater in high school, guys. Oh my gosh.
That's amazing.
That was a blast from the past when I found that. But yeah, no, it's got some cute patterns in it. Things I would totally do.
Yeah, so, it's about 50% this is a solid classic pattern,
Mm-hmm.
and 50% what were you thinking?
Questioning fashion for the rest of our lives. Look. Oh, so good.
So if you can find a copy of this, absolutely look through it.
Oh, yeah.
I think there's a lot of pictures of it on Pinterest, actually.
Any of the old magazines.
They're so entertaining.
Oh.
And sometimes you find people's notes in them, that is my favorite thing about old media, is finding other people's notes on it.
Things scribbled in the margin and stuff.
I love that. Old poetry books.
Notes? Oh, yeah.
Oh my goodness. One time I found an old poetry book that had hilarious comments in the margins and pressed flowers.
Yeah.
And,
what?
I was looking at this book and it's like a 100-year-old book. Like, these flowers pressed in this book are probably 100 years old.
Or very close to, anyway.
So, just stuff like that. I love old media for the personality that previous owners put on it.
Absolutely. It's so good. It also makes you feel really justified about writing notes and highlighting things in your university textbooks, because in 100 years, somebody might think that's interesting stuff. I mean, not till then, but possibly after that point.
Yeah.
My doodles might come to life one more time. When you're in Roman art, you doodle a lot of Roman art.
I imagine.
You do a lot of columns, arches, coins, little things. And yes, in the margins of my textbooks. I had no intention of selling that thing back. I was keeping it. I still have it on my shelf at home. I'm proud of my university textbooks. I got a lot.
Paid enough for them, might as well keep them, because the resale value is poop.
Yes, it is. And I like them, because I go back to them every once in a while. It's good for...
Well, history ones also, don't change.
As a general rule of thumb, the facts of when one king lived and when one king died generally stay the same, yes.
My textbooks were kind of useless to keep, because most of them are out of date in a couple years.
Yeah, no, mine are... But I mean, I had some courses where my textbooks literally included things like the Iliad.
My goodness.
So, yeah. That's the thing. But that's our... We thought that'd be a nice break from the constant buy, go that a lot of reviews can be. We needed a nice break before we got into September stuff.
Yeah, so I think I will... Perhaps I will see if I can find some decent lighting in here and take a couple of pictures for the Instagrams.
I think that'd be hilarious. That'd be very
good.
good.
The featured image on this episode.
Sure, absolutely. But that's it for our review. It's nice, short, and sweet, and to the point. Which only really leaves for us to say goodbye.
In fact.
It's a thing. Diana, my dear, do you want to let everybody know where they can find us on the internets?
Certainly. We can be found on Ravelry, Instagram, Facebook, and Pinterest as Northern Knits Podcast. Our blog with all our show notes is at northernknitspodcast.com. You can also email us at northernknitspodcast@gmail.com. Jocelyn, where can you be found on the internet?
I'm on the internet as Amber Dragon. Dragon spelled Dragun. If you find me on Twitter, it's fancy. There's a 1 on the end of that word. I am the most active on Twitter, Instagram, both my personal account as well as the podcast account, and Ravelry. I technically run 3 blogs. You have a YouTube channel, and technically I have a Twitch channel, but I don't do a lot on the video content side. I'm looking at changing that in the next few months as I've begun to feel better for long periods now. So other than that, that's where I exist on the internets.
I exist on the internets as a far less cohesive entity.
It helps that I'm cohesive.
I'm very less cohesive, especially in my
Googling me easy.
I can be found on Instagram and Twitch as Firewater and Fibre, Fibre spelled the American way, Fiber. And I'm on Ravelry as Wool-rat?
Yep,
as Woolrat, which is Wool-rat. I stream a virtual knit night most Wednesdays at 8:30 p.m. Central Time on Twitch Oh my goodness.
Twitch TV?
Twitch.tv.
Oh, Twitch.tv.
Firewater and Fibre. This is all linked in the show notes. I am on Twitter as Artemis_134. I have a website/blog at dianacarrier.com, and I have a second Twitch channel at twitch.tv/4R73M15, which is Artemis spelled in LeetSpeak, where I do coding, hacking stuff that is utterly unrelated to fiber.
That's perfectly fair. I have 3 blogs for the same reason. Because one's about books, one's about being blind, and one's about knitting. It seemed good to keep those separate. But the YouTube channel? Totally a mashup of whatever I feel like filming.
It's good.
It's a thing. And
all right.
That wraps up our podcast for the week. Whew. Welcome to September. Welcome to fall. We made it.
We survived the summer.
We survived the summer. We're almost there. We're in the home stretch for 2017.
Yep.
Yep. It was your first time joining us this time. We hope you enjoyed. I hope you come back. If you've listened to us before, we are so glad you guys were able to come join us again. And until next week, I'm Jocelyn.
And I'm Diana.
Saying no matter where your week takes you, don't forget to knit.